Anytime now. Come on. And it's going to make me watch an ad now. Great.
I got spinning. It says live.
I think it's up. I'm just stuck in the ad. I want to wait for this to end before we get going for real. There we go.
I got spinning. It says live.
I think it's up. I'm just, yep, I can hear myself. Okay, so I'm good now.
But can you hear me? That's the question.
Well, I can hear you, so they should be able to hear you.
You'd hope, but we went through this once before. And now I just got spinning everything.
Okay,
what is going on?
If anybody can't hear Adam talking, say so. Otherwise, I think you can hear me. I can hear me. So I will get this started. Welcome to our stream. This is for the first time. We're streaming Franchise Hockey Manager 3. I'm Jeff Riddles, the producer of FHM. With me is Adam, our community manager. Adam, say hello.
Hi, Jeff. How's it going?
It's going good, Adam. I'm very tired at the moment, but it's going good.
Why? Have you been busy for the last few days?
Oddly enough, yes. For some strange reason. I'm not sure entirely why. Oh, hey, this could be it. What we're going to do today is take you through a game in... hey, Tom, none of this about the worst team in the NHL. We're 3-0. Come on. We are playing a Path to Glory game, which is the new game mode. I've gone through the setup process already because that takes a few minutes to run through, so there's no point in slowing us down while we go through all of that. What I've done so far is set up my GM character. Whoops, find it here. And you can see I've gotten really creative and set all of my ratings to 7. I could have moved those around a little bit because you can edit your own ratings now in the game. And because I'm very, very tired of playing Winnipeg, I'm playing as a Canucks right now, the 3-0 Vancouver Canucks. In real life, at least. We'll see how they do in the game. And first thing to show you is what the game has done here. This is the first thing I haven't done anything in the game yet. This is where it shows up now at the start of your game. It's when you pick an NHL team, it will simulate forward the first month and a half or so of the season, or probably about a month and a week of the season, so you don't have to sit there and go through all that dead space before the NHL schedule starts. So nothing bad can happen to your team in that time. The AI isn't going to make trades for you or anything like that. It'll just go through, it'll get the other league started, and we'll get you right up to the first exhibition date, which is coming up on, well, almost to it. We've got 11 days left for the first game in Colorado, so what I'm going to do is just, well, you can see some of the new news here. Among other things, the Olympic qualification round has been played, and Slovakia, Latvia, and Germany are making the Olympics. That won't happen for another year and a little bit. It'll be in 2018 in Korea. And we've also got the World Cup starting today, so let's just take a quick look at that and show off some of the new international stuff. And let's see what it's done with the before I open this, I got to say the roster AI for international teams is still a work in progress. It does some weird things occasionally, and I'm going to open it up, and it's not done too badly this time. Patrick Marleau is arguably the worst player on Canada, so and it's even put Marchand on like their real Canada Cup team. So this is none of this is preset. This is all generated. Say what?
I said, while we were discussing this, there was a question from Twitter earlier from @CurtisHale. Curtis Hale asks, "Hi, is it possible to apply for an international team
that's
in FHM3?"
Good question. Right now, you can't start directly on an international team. That's it's something we're going to work on getting in soon, hopefully. But you will get offered a job if you're good enough by an international team. But your reputation to get somebody like Canada or the U.S. has to be fairly high. And it also helps if you're that nationality. So I've actually given myself a second nationality of Switzerland in this game, so there's an off chance we could get an offer. One tiny little problem right now when you get the job offer, if you actually accept it in Actually, I should be safe in this one, come to think of it. If you accept it in the released version of the game, you're going to crash as soon as you take the job. I think that's been fixed in the build I've got right now, which is one or two builds later than the one that everybody is playing in the release version at the moment. We're hoping to have that to you by the end of the week. So you will be able to play internationally then if you get the international job offer. We got a
Okay.
couple of questions in the forum too, looks like. Difference between
Yes.
Road Path to Glory
So,
and a regular old game. Basically, with Path to Glory, you can't cheat as much. You're doing a lot. You're getting a lot more involved in the day-to-day play. Assuming you're the GM coach, you're making all the strategy decisions. The only things you can delegate to your assistant are the scouting and the training. Everything else, all your strategy, all player movement up and down, all of that good stuff, you've got to handle on your own. So there's a little bit more of a challenge to it, and the idea is to, within the constraints of not being able to do things like edit and having to go through every day and play game by game, try to get the best score possible. And if I'll go into this quickly, whoops, wrong screen. GM leaders, and that needs to be sorted better. But you can see there's a GM leader screen now. I don't think that's sorting perfectly at the moment, but there's an overall score, and you will see where you wind up in the overall standings as compared to Conn Smythe, Glenn Sather, etc., the all-time greats, Hall of Famers, and so on. And sandbox mode for everybody who liked playing it the traditional way, with being able to go into commissioner mode and edit things, change things. If you want, if you didn't like a player's ratings, or if you wanted to move him to another team or do that sort of thing, you've still got that option by playing in sandbox mode. Works exactly the same. And the other thing with sandbox mode is you can advance through multiple days at a time. In Path to Glory mode, which I'll show you in a second, you advance day by day by day. And another question, I am playing the Jets in Path to Glory mode. I can't set my lines because only 20 players can be dressed. Okay, what I'm guessing there is you've probably got a few players on international duty. Let me just take a quick look at the Jets in this game and see who they got away. Yeah, Buffalin's away, Hellebuck's away.
yeah. Yes,
So
I can only fill
what
my
you would need to
line.
do in that case is go down to your farm team. I can't do it because I'm not playing as the Jets. But I'm going to be doing it for the Canucks in a second. Actually, I might as well just do that right now. You can see as the Canucks, I've got Markstrom is away on international duty, so I need a backup goalie. So down to Utica and call up Richard Bachman.
Okay, just off slightly off topic. Are the Canucks moving their farm team?
Not as far as I know. I think
Actually,
they're happy with Utica. It's weird. I mean, you'd think they would
okay.
if they've got the arena in Chilliwack, so in Abbotsford too. So you'd think there'd be some interest in moving them, but apparently not. Okay, so you see there, I've got Richard Bachman, and it's actually letting me go over the roster restriction of 23 in the preseason because I've got guys away on international duty, and they're not counting against that limit. I've also got the Sedins and Louis Eriksson and Yannick Hansen. So actually, I think Hansen may be in that Olympic qualifier, so I may be getting him back. But I've got to cover for the Swedes here. So that's my full first line gone. So how many forwards have I got? I've only got the 12. Okay, down to Utica, and I need a whole forward line. Let's call up Cole Castles, Andrew Castles' kid. Give him a little time. Radine. Up to Vancouver as well. And who else? A winger. Zalewski, I guess. It's not the greatest option, but
An option nonetheless.
yeah, I think we need to be a little clearer with some of the pop-ups in the game about what needs to be done in those situations and why your roster is short. But there we go. There's my roster filled out. And any other questions? Okay, no, I think we're good there. Now, one thing you'll see here is the star ratings look a lot different than they used to last year. Last year, if we were looking at the Canucks roster, we would have seen probably 80% of the team would be 3.5 stars. We've spread those out quite a bit now. Even the 1-star guy Zalewski that's sort of just good enough for the team. You don't want a whole team full of guys like that, but on your fourth line, it's not that bad. And the top end of the scale, which is Henrik Sedin in this case, and where's Daniel Sedin too. 4 stars could go up to 5, but you see a little bit more of a difference between, say, the Sedins and somebody up at the next level above that, like Crosby or a Stamkos. So it's a little easier to see who your really elite players are, and you're not wondering what's the difference between all these different 3-star guys. There's a little more variation in the star ratings. Okay, so on to the next part, which is the new strategy screen. Whoops, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and let the coach dress my players. Is he going to do anything weird? No, I don't want Triamkin. No, actually, I should show you this. I can just click on that, and that will toggle back and forth between the dressed and scratched. And everybody down here is still scratched. Oh wait, I need to cover for Hansen too for the moment. Actually, no, I don't. I'm just going to continue this, get a couple of days ahead, and I think Hansen will come back because he's away at that Olympic qualifier for Denmark right now. So as soon as that's done, he should be back. And normally, if the season was underway now, we would be getting seeing all the box scores of the games going by. Right now, it just says no games today. And we wait a little bit for this to progress to the next day. And if anybody else, so we've got a few people here tonight. If anybody else has questions, feel free to ask. There we go.
I got one for you, just because, Canucks.
Oh, actually, Hannah Hansen is playing for Europe, so I do have to call somebody up. Go ahead.
Who's their top prospects, top 5 prospects? And what would be the quickest way for me to find that out?
Well, that's an excellent question. First of all, I'm going to call up Grenier to cover for Hansen. I can just go to
Actually, I guess the first question I should ask is, do the Canucks even have 5 prospects?
Hey, now. Not all of us are lucky enough to get really stupid, really high draft picks or high picks in the lottery, even though we deserved more than the Jets did.
I don't think so.
Okay, but the easiest way to find out that information is to go to the depth chart, which is right beside the strategy screen. And you can see everybody I've got here. Actually, Castles was a lot farther down than I thought. Olli Juolevi, who is arguably our #1 prospect. We've got Bozer down in college. And Thatcher Demko, who just signed out of NCAA and is going to be playing in Utica this year. And somebody had a very good idea on the forum to right now right-clicking on these guys doesn't do anything, but if we added that, you could call guys directly up and move them down to your farm team from this list, which makes a whole lot of sense for me. So I'm going to see if there's an easy way to implement that on this screen. I hope so, because it would save a whole bunch of clicks.
All right, sounds good. A question from Tom in our chat says, is there plans to implement Path to Glory mode in the future?
Yeah, actually, we had hoped to get that in right from the beginning, and this one wasn't quite enough time for it, but we will, I'm pretty sure, be able to get that in at some point, if not before release in one of the updates after that. Or so Marcus has promised me. We'll see. But okay, I've got my guys all called up now, and I'm going over to the new strategy screen, and you can see I've got my dress list here. And what I want to set up here is the new tactics. So at the moment, it's gone to the default one, which is the Swedish torpedo system. I am going to switch it over to the cycling tactic, and you can see on this screen there's a familiarity rating for each of these. And right now it's red for everybody, because I haven't used any of these tactics yet. As I play one, it will progress all the way up to green, through orange and blue, etc., etc. Or wait, is green before blue? Or yeah, no, blue's before green. And that'll tell you how comfortable your team is with the tactics. So if you've got a couple that are fairly high, you can switch back and forth between them relatively easily. But for the most part, this is what you're building your whole system out of, and it's not something where you want to be switching back and forth from on data on a game to game basis. You set something and hopefully probably in the preseason and keep it there for the balance of the year. So I'm going to set that as cycling. I don't want to be playing a neutral zone trap. Let's do something a little bit different on
So
defense.
if,
Let's
say
take
for
Roger
instance,
Nielsen's old system since this is Canucks.
say you get all to green in your setting, what happens and how will players react if you switch to brand new systems?
Not well a lot of the times. It depends on the individual players and how well they adapt to stuff. But if you go to something that, you safe switch from a system that your team is very comfortable with to something completely new, there's a chance that a few of the guys will get extremely unhappy for you, and it'll take them probably about a month or so to adjust to the new one, and you'll have a very irritated team for a little while. Really depends on, and it also depends on the, which I have to check on it. It depends on your motivation skill, I believe, and also on the leadership skill of your captain. So if you got a good captain
Okay.
and you're a good motivator, you can get guys able to buy into a tactics change a lot more easily than you would if you had either a bad captain or weren't good at motivating people. But back to tactics. Okay, we've got cycling, we've got the Nielsen system, and then if you see up here, I'm going to click over to the power play tab. That's a bit of a mistake right now. 5-on-5 is staying selected, but I'm actually looking at the power play, where I think that'll be fixed hopefully by Friday. Let's just swap the umbrella system out to a simple overload. And you can see I won't read the whole tactics description to you, but it gives you some details about what exactly it does. You can see the fixed settings the tactic brings with it. And on to penalty killing, and I will stick with the box system there. And you can see the 4-on-4 and 3-on-3 also use the same tactic as even strength. So you can, if you change it there, it's going to change to the 5-on-5 tactic too. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here and go back to the dress line and use the assistant to pick my lines up because this is, without the Sedines, I'm only going to be playing a couple exhibition games like this. But if I wanted to, for example, I can clear my defenseman by right-clicking, and that is their offensive role. So when I click on Edler and I've got Goodbranson playing with them, it gives me two options. I have to fill one of these roles, or I have to fill each of these roles on the defensive pair. So one guy gets an offensive role, one guy gets the two-way role. And if I scroll down here, the ones that are outlined in green are the primary roles, the roles that fit the role requirement for the tactic best. And then there's a secondary role behind that. There's a slight penalty if you take a guy in one of these roles. But depending on how well his tactics fit, which you can see how the role fits the individual player. In this case, I think it's 3 stars for pretty much everything, so that's not the greatest example. I'm going to make Edler the playmaker, and I'm going to make Goodbranson. You can see that because I've already taken the offensive defenseman role and given it to Edler, it's telling me that up in this corner. Edler, who has been given the playmaking defenseman role, so you know why that's filled and why you can't select somebody else at that now. Goodbranson. Yeah, see, in this case, you can see it's clear-cut. He's got 4 dots under punishing defenseman, and I don't think he's got 4 under stay-at-home and crease-clearing defenseman 2. But those are secondary roles, and I want to take the best one here, so we will go with punishing defenseman. And you can see I can go all the way down through here on that. One thing that may be a little confusing to people, there's an offensive role and a defensive role. And in some cases, even on the defensive role, you can see with Granlund here, it's still, in this case, flick that out, and the role requirement is still for an offensive forward type, which is one of these 5 or 6 guys, which may be a little counterintuitive at first. I'm going to make him a speedy forward to change it up a little bit. But in this case, if you've got the forward line where you're giving a guy an offensive type role, even in the defensive, as the defensive requirement, you're basically telling him not worry too much about defense. You're not going to evaluate him based on how he does in his defensive game, you mainly want to worry about him generating offense. And vice versa. If you've got a guy, let me see down here, yeah, you've got Brendan Gaunce shadowing both offensively and defensively. He's not going to be worried about scoring a bunch of goals. He's mainly concentrating on whoever his the best guy on the opposing line is, and trying to shut him down and not worrying about getting into good scoring chances. Okay, I think we've got our offense set up. There's our shootout. Oh, wow, that's a mess without the first line there. We'll just leave that as it is, and I think we've got a few days to sim forward to get into a play and get into our first exhibition game. That was... who was that against? Might have been Columbus. But it'll take us... it goes fairly fast at this point because there's no other league. There's only a couple other leagues running right now. The international tournament is going. We can take a quick look at how the World Cup is going. Team Europe not doing so well. World Cup standings, and we would like to get a leader screen in for the players at this point. We haven't done that yet, but hopefully that's coming soon. Canada opens 2-0, US 2-0, a little better than they actually did. Russia also undefeated. Yeah, North America not doing so well, and you can see down at the bottom of the screen that's where the playoff stage will go once we get to that. So continuing forward, and come to think, I think I've put this on our planning list. I want to get the international scores showing up on that screen where it's sort of showing no games today. I mean, it's better than not having any NHL games, since there aren't any NHL games, not having anything at all show up there. Oh, sorry, user 1125, didn't see that. Being unable to play out games in Path to Glory mode.
No, you can play out games.
Yeah, that's kind of the main point of it. You're actually pretty much forced to play out the games. Or are you talking? I'm not.
Without seeing the comment directly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the comment is, but it's yeah, you can definitely. I'm going to be doing that in a minute. In fact, Tom, yeah, I'm playing as coach and GM.
User 1125 also asked, will quick start game be available?
Basically, all the starts are quick starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... oh, with other teams. Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, at the moment, it's not letting you watch the other team's games. I'm not really sure what the decision behind that was. I'm going to try and see if we can get that added back, because unless there's some new technical constraint I don't know about, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to watch those. Maybe a problem watching them on on days your team has a game, because I think they've done something with the playing order there. But if your team's got an off day, yeah, I can't really see any reason why you wouldn't be able to watch that. And let's take a look in a second when we get back out of this sim screen. And we'll take a look at the World Cup and see how that's going. It's sure taking a while. Now it's going through a couple of days at once. There we go. And you good news for the U.S. in the World Cup. Patrick Kane is hurt. And looks like a Canada-USA final, which is, I'm guessing, what the NHL was actually hoping for.
They wanted Team Europe versus Team North America.
Yeah, that would have put a lot of people in the seats, wouldn't it? Yeah, USA beats Russia 2-1, and Canada shuts out North America 5-0. So Canada looking about as good as they did in the real one. Okay, and let me just check my news to see if there's anything interesting there. And you can see we've redone the news screen as well. There's a lot of new news items telling you about the World Cup. For example, if the players had a really good game. Alex Barkov got hurt, I guess, in the Finland-North America game. That kind of hurts the Panthers. And Patrick Kane's only day today, so maybe he'll be able to play in this. And speaking of injuries, we're also we know the injuries are really running high in the game right now. There was a couple of errors in the code that hopefully we'll have that fixed by Friday. And we're also revamping a couple other things about injuries. In fact, that's literally what I was working on design-wise right before I came in here. and I'll be getting back to that as soon as we're done. And depending on how quick Sebastian and Malta can get it coded, maybe in by Friday, or maybe in whatever the next update after that is. But it'll do a few different things, assuming everything I want to do can be done. And there'll be a little bit more uncertainty about when exactly guys are coming back from injuries, and probably a little stronger dividing line between major and minor injuries. Okay, and
Yeah.
quick look at the World Cup.
While you continue,
Canada's won.
in the chat, Ratcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, just going to say we're in that, looking at the Canada-USA box score. And Canada wins game 1. Mark Giordano with 2 goals in the first star. What were you gonna? What was Radcast asking?
Ratcast in the chat, of course, friend Dave asked, "What options are available in historical mode?"
Which options are you asking about, Dave?
I'm assuming he wants to know, just take a guess, if we've added any new years or any more leagues.
Not at present. No, I've been doing a little bit of work getting the database back to right in 1917, but there's a few issues with getting the leagues to work properly at that point, and because there's a fairly different set of rules in the first 10 years or so of the NHL, and then you've also got the complication of the West Coast leagues. So you've got a second major league, sort of like the WHA in the later years, so that's always a bit of a mess to code. So nothing imminent happening there. One thing another new thing here is the training camp development report. Normally you'd get a monthly development report on your players during the off season. That's all shut down, and so you get the whole all the off season development is presented to you at the training camp. So in this case, you can see that Philip Larson has taken a bunch of big steps forward here, and shows up at training camp quite a bit better than he would in the previous season. And U.S. lost Pacioretty, and I think we got one more world. Oh, actually, we are at a game now, so I can show that to you. User 1125. Will different color skins be available when the final is released? No, I think we're just going to be releasing with this one skin. If the I know a lot of people have commented that the background skins or the background displays like the one I'm looking at right now with Vancouver can be a little hard to read with some teams, but you can that's completely customizable. You can just delete the background and it'll go to the regular default hockey rink one, which is fairly easy to read, or you can make your own. And I'm sure there'll be people now that we've got Steamworks, or will have Steamworks working by the time the release is ready, and I'm sure people will make their own, and you can choose whichever one you want that looks a little bit better or is a little easier to read. But we are ready to play a game now. What were you going to say?
You should be able to do that through Steamworks, right? If you get a Steam version.
Once that's all ready to go. And too many players in the active roster. Oh, and actually, because Sweden got knocked out so early, all those roster moves I made are completely unnecessary now. So Bachman down to Utica. Zaluski is back down. Castles. Normally Sweden sticks around long enough into the World Cup that the players aren't back yet, but this time around I got lucky and they didn't, and 24 players. I'm going to send down Triumkin. We will cheat here and let the AI do the dressing for us, and that's the other thing the assistant will do for you when you're playing Path to Glory as Coach GM. You can get the assistant to create your lines for you. Switch Adler to that, and you can see that it makes a little bit more sense now that I've got my full line up here. The Sedins both doing the playmaking, and Louis Eriksson's going to be the goal scorer on that line. Second line, I don't think I want Dorsett there. I'm going to swap him and Granlund, and I will switch those roles around. Granlund can be the playmaker, and let him do some forechecking. And Dean Dorsett. I don't want Dorsett being an offensive guy. Let Burrows take the offensive role. And let Dorset do what he does a lot better. Yeah, he can.
User1125 asks, just if you don't have Steam, how are you going to be able to get the mods?
That'll probably be released. I think there's various sites people will share them at, so you'll still be able to get a hold of them. I'm assuming people aren't just going to dump them on Steam, and like the Blue Line or anywhere. I mean, if people want to just put them on a Dropbox or any file sharing site and post them in our mods forum, it's easy enough to find there. If anyone else sets another site up for sharing FHM mods, like I know there's plenty of OOTP ones as well, so they should be pretty easily accessible there. Okay, I think I'm finally happy with my lines, so let's go on to the game. And first thing you can see is the new pregame screen. I can look at what Colorado's doing since I don't have the coaching advantage. It says, you can see here, they've got the advantage over me. I don't get to see what their roles are at the start of the game. You can see right here, there's a little highlight beside Vertinen's name, and that tells me that the role that this particular guy is playing, defensively in this case, is a counter to his team, the other team's offensive tactic. He's also set to the same role on the or the same tactical role as his offensive role, but that isn't a counter to their defensive tactics, so he doesn't get the little red button there, and I will show you in a second exactly what the effects of that are. I think everything looks all right here. Continue on. And you can see the old pregame is still, pregame screen still there, which gives you all the stats, which there haven't been any games at this point. If I wanted to, I could just sim right through this and not see anything at all. But I will go on to the gameplay screen. And one thing you'll notice up here is the new interface up in the top right. Tells you which team currently has momentum, which team has the coaching advantage, which determines who gets to make their strategy changes first, and whether or not you can see the other team's current tactical roles. And then finally there's a tactical advantage, and in this case you can see Colorado's. It's a little hard to see here, but Colorado's logo is bold, so they've got the tactical advantage over me right now. So I'm going to start the game not worrying about that, but I will probably jump in at some point and see if I can turn that around a little bit. And what this means is they're going to get a bonus on their tactics, their offensive and defensive tactics, which will raise their player rating slightly, depending on the exact nature of whatever tactic they've got. So I will start this game up, and you will get the old familiar play-by-play and puck location. I've got it set to very fast, so it's going to rip through that pretty quickly. What it's doing right now is stopping at every face-off, so I can click that game stoppages off, and it should rush through there. And I think we got some questions.
Ratcast in the chat asks, can you press playoff only?
Well, you could theoretically, I guess, sim only the if you're playing in Path to Glory, you could hit the sim game on every single game and go through it that way. Or if you're in sandbox mode, just advance forward to whatever the start date of the playoffs is, assuming your team makes them.
Yes, but there's not just a playoff simulation at this time.
No.
Playoff mode. Right?
No, and just looking at user 1125's question here, you still got 20 out of 20 dressed and saying not enough players to create lineup. I'm not sure what's going there. Can you maybe take a screenshot of that, of what your roster screen looks like right now, and post it on the forum, and I will take a look at that as soon as we're out of here and try to figure out why it's not letting you advance there, because there's got to be some reason for it saying you don't have enough players to create the lineup. I'm not sure why, though.
Yeah. I can't do it manually either because one of my players is a goalie.
Hit F12 and then look in your screenshots directory. Actually, that may not work. I think that's dependent on... that might be Steam dependent, the F12. Maybe not. No, I took.
Well,
Oh no, wait. No, I didn't do it in
no,
this one.
it's if not, then hit the print screen button on your keyboard and
Yeah,
put it into Paint or whatever other programs you have, and then save it.
yeah. And we got a nothing tie so far. Not the most exciting game in the world, and I think I will turn game stoppages back on in the next face-off. That should give me a chance to. And naturally, the next face-off is a Colorado goal, which I didn't really want. One thing that's new here. I can choose the next line to go out. It won't change the line immediately, but it will bump that line up in the priority list. So the Sedines will assuming they're reasonably well rested, will go out next and override whatever would have normally gone out that way.
So say at the end of the game you're double shifting and people are really tired. Can you still force them out or no?
It depends on how tired they are. If they're especially the shift fatigue, if they're down at nothing at the end, no shift fatigue at all, and there's other well-rested players, the AI will probably take over and force somebody to go out for them. You can't play guys to the point of complete exhaustion. Okay, I'm going to see if I can.
Well, that doesn't seem fair.
Okay, that's all. Oh, that's right. That's the fourth line. I'm cheating a little bit by going to the fourth line, and I know that one works. I want to get a little. One thing we need to do is add a little note on this screen that tells you whether or not something is an effective counter tactic. I just know that one happens to be, so I'm cheating and dumping all my guys onto it. Back to the game, and did that
Oh,
give me
yes.
what happened?
Yes. Sorry, I'm interrupting. The Jets just came back from 4-1 down and have tied it up because of Patrick.
Yeah, well, tell me when they win 3 overtime
2
games in a row
goals.
after coming back from being down.
2 goals. This is a big win. Nice goal on his knee slapper.
Yeah.
With Morgan Riley in the box.
I liked his line the other day when they asked him after Matthews had his 4-goal game how many points he wanted in the wanted to get in his first game, and he said 2 points for the win.
Yep.
So starting out that rivalry
like
was pretty
good
good.
at it.
When's the first Leafs
Yes,
Jets
well,
game?
that was right now.
Oh, that is Leafs Jets tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's on Sportsnet. It's Wednesday night at hockey, and Sunday's the Heritage game outdoors.
Why are they doing that so early? Man.
Because nobody wants a Winnipeg in -40.
Build an arena at the corner of Portage and Maine, and put up some temporary stands.
Tom Torres, Lane, everyone's excited. It's good. It's good. Gotta love it.
And we're still down. I'm not going to dig into this strategy too much here because we're running a little bit low on time. I will show you. There's one thing I want to show you once we get out of here. But
yes. So for a few of you in the chat, definitely have been playing FHM3. How are you enjoying it so far? And anything funny or awesome happened?
And what happened? Oh, it's another Colorado goal. That's why I'm going to sim this to the end of the game. And we wound up losing 3-0. So not quite like the real Canucks, but fortunately that's only an exhibition game. So I'm going to continue that on to our next game, and then what I want to show you here, I think he's got something else coming at him.
There are 20 slots that need to plus 2 goals. Is it possible that it's showing four defensive slots?
It's the 4 defenseman slots. You don't need to fill those last 2 slots. That's only for leagues like the KHL where you've got where they have they allow you to dress. I think it's 22 players.
Yeah. You could also, if you want to roll 4 defensive lines, if you want to have a defenseman double shifting to get the more ice time.
Yep, that's possible too. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to show you. The global tactics screen, we've done some new things on there. You can see the old traditional stuff that we've always had, like the different where to target the goalie if you want to go high on either side or shoot low on them, tempo, when to pull the goalie, whether or not you want to switch the goalie quickly or not. But what we've added this year is face-off zone priorities. So if you're in the offensive zone, you can decide which line is going to be your first choice to send out. So normally it's probably going to be your first line, but if for some reason, say you wanted to send your second line out whenever there's an offensive zone face-off, if you had a really good face-off guy or whatever other reason you can think of, I can switch that around. So now my second line will get first priority on offensive zone face-offs. And same thing with the defensive zone. If your third line's your checking line, you want that one to go out first, you can set that up, or I can switch it around to have my second going out first. And finally, line matching. You can choose which of your lines you want matched to the other team's lines. So in this case, the default is my first line is going to go out when their third line's out, second to second, third to third, third to first, and fourth to fourth. I could, for example, swap that around so the first line is going to the second line, etc., etc. And that will mainly be it'll be a little harder to do the matching when you're the visiting team because you won't have the last change. But if you're during games where you're the home team, that will come into play quite a lot, as you'll be able to see which line's coming out next and set up your own line to counter them. And we will just sim through that quickly. And it's a Vancouver win, 2-1. So you can see you don't have to play the entire game out if you want. You can just sim through it, and the usual box score and game summary at the end.
Which is always good to see and good to...
Yep.
Now, last year in a later patch, we had fancy stats, did we not?
Sorry, you cut out there? What was that?
In latter patch in FHM2, we added fancy stats. Where do we find those this year?
Oh, the advanced stuff?
Like our Corsi numbers.
That was actually FHM1 we did that in.
All that other... Did we? I thought it came in a patch in FHM2.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's my bad then.
But you can, just to show you, well, you won't be able to see a whole lot now. I'd have to go to Stats Advanced, and preseason, you can't really get a whole lot out of these stats, 2 exhibition games in, but you've got the standard stats, and you can see when I'm mousing over it like that, I think it'll pop up. Yeah, it pops up, and you can see the explanation of what exactly each of these is. Corsi, Fenwick, PDO, and goals for per 60 minutes, and goals against, and shots for, and shots against. I think we need to take a look at adding a few more advanced stats. There's a few more metrics that have come out in the last couple of years that we could get in there, but most of these aren't really going to be too interesting till you're at least 10-20 games into the season, and then you can start drawing some conclusions from them. And let's see, what haven't we covered yet? Oh, I think I have to go back in the news to find this, but I can show you something else new. We've added some central scouting agency, which we didn't have before, and it'll give you a little bit of advance warning on prospects for the upcoming draft. Just waiting to sim through that.
We kind of talked about the other day, but it's important to talk about. I'm always, if I have the first overall pick, I'm always going to be able to get Alex Ovechkin, right? And not Alexander Dago.
Well, it's not a 100% chance anymore. There's a new system we added that
Wait.
will.
You're telling me I could get stuck with some bus?
Yep, it can happen. Actually, I'm not going to tell you what the exact percentage chance of it happening is. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. But now it's possible
79%.
for players to a few players in each round will either have their potential significantly improve or significantly decrease. You will get a little bit of warning from the scouts on that, or at least, although the scouts may be wrong part of the times, they may give you a false warning about people who don't actually have that feature with the increasing or decreasing potential. So you're never going to know for sure if that warning's exactly right, but it can definitely happen now. So you can get the 7th round steals now, or the first round Patrick
Oh!
Stephans, and I'm guessing the Jets have scored again.
After Matthews got stoned.
You're enjoying this way too much.
I no, I'm so. Anytime you beat the Leafs, it's great. Especially being in Winnipeg, there's still a very large population, but that's Laune. That's got to be the quickest trick for Rick Winnipeg Jets history. Just a few games into the season.
Tom's asking if manually double shifting players on the line setup screen. I'm not sure if that's because I know we've changed so much on the line setup. If that'll work now, I'll have to double check on that. And yeah, I want to get that working. If it isn't, should be able to. I think because with the new way we've got with the, as you can see when we're on the lines setup screen, you can. I don't have. I don't know. I've got. Yeah, I would need a shorter roster to show you, but you can, for example, if I unclick Radine here, and I can just click on him that way, I can fill a box. I'm not. Let me try taking Burrows out and let me do that. Nope, it's still switching. Okay, that's not good. I gotta make a note of that. And we will try to get that set up so it doesn't auto switch, and so you can double shift guys properly in historical mode. Keep in mind that even if you can double shift them, they'll still be subject to the usual fatigue rules. So they may not go out if they're really tired, and somebody else may get substituted onto that line. But what I was going to show you here, going way back to the first day that I skipped over, the Central Scouting Futures list. So right now you can see that the first list that's published is in alphabetical order instead of by actual potential or anything else. Just gives you an idea of the first 70 or so guys who are the top contenders for the next draft, although you can always, if you want, just sort them by future talent, and not surprisingly, Nolan Patrick's at the top of the list. If we go a little farther into the game, oh, we did make it that far. Okay, that's good. The watch list gets published because we are past that point now. The watch list is the second list that Central Scouting puts out, and it will rank players, give players a letter grade A, B, or C. A is the likely first round guys, so you can see that Patrick is up there with an A, and gives you your first indication of what the average scout sees the rough classification of these guys is. B is second or third rounders, and C is everybody else, going down to about the end of the 6th round. And if we were to go, we won't be making that far in this game, but if we get up to January, it'll give us a midterm ranking where it will give you the explicit rankings of everybody 1 to, I can't remember if it goes down to 210 for the full draft or not, and then it'll update that again in April, so you will have another source to go by than just your own scouts.
Yeah. User 1125 asks, can I sim ahead multiple games in Path to Glory mode?
No, you can only do that in sandbox mode. The idea being with Path to Glory mode, you're going through every game and ideally playing the whole thing out and getting a little bit more involved in the strategic choices of your team, and responding to what the other team does, and getting into a little more detailed. If you want to play the other way, where you get through it, go through the schedule fairly quickly and get a month's results at a time before going in and doing something with your roster, then you can still do that in sandbox mode.
Yeah, variety and options.
And let's see, what else have we not shown here? I've shown new news. I've shown central scouting. Can't really show any achievements unless I get really lucky. You can see some of the new news items here. Joe Thornton's had a good game. Yeah, see, there's the watch draft list being published. Oh, and Canada wound up winning the World Cup. What a surprise. So I can just have a quick look there, and they swept the U.S. in the final. So the U.S. doing slightly better, but not quite good enough. And that's why I
If
had
Canada not winning the World Cup would be as surprising as the Vancouver Canucks winning the
Hey, careful now.
Stanley Cup this year.
I didn't win one test game, and they did get through to the finals. I think they got swept by Detroit, but they made it there somehow. But that's one out of dozens and dozens of test games, so I'm not terribly optimistic. Just showing off the other international stuff we've got. You can see the Olympics. You don't get anything there because the tournament doesn't start until February 2018, so you'll see that in your second season of the game. The two qualification rounds have already been played.
The Winter Games.
The Winter Games. And then the qualification for this year, which in real life has already been played, but gets played out in the game because it's after the start date. Those are the Slovakia, Latvia, and Germany that are the teams that will be qualifying to go to Korea. And of course, we've got the World Championships, which don't start until the following spring, but those go all the way down to Division 3, which, if I look at the world rankings, and I can see the tournament classification there, Division 3 will include Bulgaria, South Africa, Luxembourg, Georgia, Bosnia, and the UAE. So you can literally go down to all of the absolute bottom of the world rankings, and if you get hired by one of those teams, you can guide the United Arab Emirates to theoretically guide them to the top level of the World Championships. I would really like to see that as somebody manages, though.
That sounds like an achievement for next year.
That's definitely an idea. If I thought it was possible to do, maybe we would have included it this year. It's a pretty long shot.
Tom Torres asks, are they working on adding the World Juniors?
Yeah, that's now that we've got the first few tournaments in, it's actually a fairly easy process at this point. So the main issue, if I'm remembering right, with World Juniors is figuring out how to work player rights during the tournament, because the NHL is kind of in a gray area as to whether or not they allow players to participate in it. So we want to find some way of getting that to work properly. So, if you're obviously Austin Matthews isn't going to be playing for the U.S. this year, but some of the bubble guys who might be on.
It could have.
You want to put a little money on that if the Leafs are going to let him go? That's unless Toronto is completely out of the playoffs by Christmas. I don't think we're going to be seeing him there.
If he got, and knock on wood, if he got terribly injured or something, they might want to send him there as a conditioning stint.
I'm not thinking so.
Knock on wood. Don't wish that on anyone, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. Okay, and we are almost out of time here, and I don't think I'm going to make it to the regular season.
Yeah, use the 125. 1125 has another question for you there if you just want to read it really quick.
He's in the off season trying to get. Okay, yeah, but you need to call up somebody from your farm team. Switch to. Here, I'm going to show you right now in the game. From your roster view, click on your team, and for me, it's going to be Utica that shows up on the farm team list. You want to click right here where it says your team name, switch that to Manitoba, and you'll get the list of everybody that's on your farm teams. Right click on the player's name, and it's going to, for me, it's saying to Van NHL down there, and I will click on that, and it's going to give me the pop-up warning saying that do I want to move Richard Bachman to the Canucks. Click OK on that, and do that to replace the players that you're missing. and it will let you go. But since it's a preseason, it will let you go past your the normal 22-player roster limit. And
which is
sorry, Tom. I think we answer the World Junior question. I'm not sure if I've made it
yeah,
through
yeah,
all.
we did.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna hopefully get those in soon. I'd like to get the under 17 tournament in, the Linka tournament, and all of that in. Just a little bit complicated to figure out the player rights on it right now.
Yeah. Well, called the under 17 and the under tournaments.
Yep. And there's also stuff, regional tournaments. I think they're actually playing an African tournament right now. I think we'd have to get a few more teams in for that. There's the Asian one that I remember. There's probably a few more that I can't think of off the top. I know there's smaller European ones. And the other thing we'd eventually like to do is get the European club tournaments in. So there's still a whole bunch of stuff that we can do internationally and sort of semi-internationally with the club teams. And I think our hour is just about up. So how far did I make it? No, I've still got 3 preseason games left. So I think
one more question.
Oh, go ahead. Is that from you or
now
from?
I've just completely lost my.
Oh,
it was from somebody else, but I just completely lost the train of thought of which one it was. It's gone now, so I don't remember.
Junior question.
I'll try to remember for
World
next
Cup
week.
question.
No, it's just gone. I have no idea what it was.
Okay, post it in the forum if you think of it. Okay,
yeah, for sure. And the forums are live.
Yep, and I think I will. Yeah, we're pretty much done here. Is there anything else that I wanted to show? I'm just trying to think of it. Sandbox mode. I can't really go all the way out and do that. The new tactical system, I showed you some of that. Oh, the achievements. We do have achievements in the game. Wasn't lucky enough to get one of those. Most of them are fairly difficult to get. There's one or two that are a little easier. But when you get one of those, you'll get the pop-up message that you've got one of your players got a Gordie Howe hat trick or whatever else you've happened to achieve. If you wait, actually, I think no, they're on the start screen. If I go back to here, I may be able to see them. Yes, I can, and there are all of the different achievements that it's possible for you to win. You see, I've already got the Gordie Howe hat trick in another game.
Yeah.
Whoops, something's it's showing showing a bunch of blank ones. I need to get that fixed. And I've also got the one.
Let's call it a night here then, Jeff.
Okay, I think so. That's probably a good time, and I will let you do the traditional sign-off.
All right. Thank you once again for tuning into another Franchise Hockey 3 stream, our first one. Very exciting.
Yep.
We stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OOTP Developments. From this, and you weren't watching it live, you're probably watching it on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, of course, is youtube.com/OOTP Developments, where all of our streams are archived in a couple days after we stream. If you want to come talk to us about all things Franchise Hockey Manager 2 or 3, you can reach out to us on Twitter, which is @FranchiseHockey. You can find us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/FranchiseHockeyManager. Or maybe you can just come on down to our forums, which are at ootpdevelopments.com. And click on the community button. Jeff, did I miss anything?
Just to mention that we've still got if you haven't bought the game yet, if you pre-purchase now, and if you get the Accelerate version, you can participate in the beta. We've got that going for another week and a half or probably a little bit longer than that, before the official release on Steam and everywhere else at the end of the month. So if you want an early look at the game, you can do that right now, and we are...
And save some money.
Exactly.
Because we are selling it 25% off. It's going to go up in price.
Yep. So here's your chance to save a little money and get an early look at the game. And I think we've covered pretty much everything else. So thank you, everybody, for showing up. And if you got any other questions, like Adam said, the forum is always open, and I'm trying to stay on there as much as I can right now, in between doing all the other fun stuff involved in getting it for release. But I think there's Adam's on there as well, and Lucas and Sebastian and Malta, the design team. All of us are on there pretty frequently, and hopefully one or more of us can answer any questions you've got. So thank you for showing up, and we will see you same time next week, hopefully.